Welcome to IT Hub. Today we are going to understand the basics of a macro code. Basically, today we are going to create a macro code for filling up the formulas in respective columns. So I'll just open the folder over here. In this, we have already created the macro code in the formula. You can see that there is two files. First one is the macro code in which we have written our code over here, that is in the formula file, and second one is the test file in which our macro code is going to execute. So you can see that Excel file over here as in the test we have passed the two values in two columns, that is in A and B, and in the C column we had expected the macro to write the sum, and in D it should write the multiplication. Now we will go ahead and see the formula file. So this is our macro code, and to move to the code we will use the syntax Alt F11. It will come up to this screen, and this is our macro code over here. So those who don't know how to create a simple macro file, please go through my previous videos in which I have explained how to create a simple macro file. So this is the file in which I'm passing the value of the folder where we have stored our test file. That is the path of this one. So I'll go through the code line by line. So this is the sub procedure, and I provide the name as formula since we are setting up the formulas. These four lines is nothing but it is defining a variables, and in VBA generally we used to define the variables with the help of dim keywords. Dim keywords stand for dimensions, and it is basically used to declare a variable of different data type. So you can see that I have declared as a file path as a string, last row as a long, WS as a worksheet, WB as a workbook. So these four are nothing but it is used to declare a variable. These two lines is nothing but it is used to application.cut copy mode is equal to false. What does it mean? It means that suppose in this file if I have selected something and put Control C, so it is highlighting the border. So to remove all those things, what we used to do, we use this syntax that application.cut copy mode is equal to false. It will remove all those highlighted things. And application.display alerts is nothing but it will remove all the pop-ups when we encounter while opening an Excel file. So whenever we open any Excel file, there might be some pop-up that is coming. So to avoid all those pop-ups, we are using this syntax. Now we will move to the code. The first line is that file path is equal to this workbook dot sheets. File path is the string you can see over here, and this workbook dot sheets sheet1 dot range b2 dot value. So it refers to this workbook. This workbook refers to the formula workbook. Sheet1 is nothing but this one, and over here it is looking for b2 value. So the value in b2 cell is nothing but C users Lenovo desktop macro and formula. This is the folder basically. So this line will pick up those things from there and save it into the file path. In the next line, set WB is equal to workbooks.open file path, that is coming from here, and the name of the file on which our macro is going to execute. So this is nothing but it is going to open the particular test file, that is this file. Over here you can see that I have used set over here, but in this variable I have not used set. The reason is that here we are just passing a value and saving it into the variable, that is the file path. But over here we are saving a particular workbook in the object that we have created as WB, and the class of the object is nothing but it is a workbook. So basically what does it mean? We are saving a workbook instance into this WB variable. So remember, whenever we are going to pass simple value, we don't need to use set, but whenever we are going to pass particular object like workbook, worksheet, range, then we have to use set keywords over here. Likewise, in the next line, what I'm doing, I'm just referring it to the sheet1, that is WB is nothing but this one, that is the test file, and in test file I want to save the sheet1 as an instance in WS. WS is nothing but it is a worksheet. Hope it clears to you. The next line is that now I want to find the total number of rows in that test file. So you can see that in the test file there are totally around 10 rows. So what does this line will do? It will WS will refer to this workbook and sheet1. Now range A and rows count. rows count will give you the total number of rows. So in this case there are 10, so it will totally be written as, in this scenario, as A10 dot end xlf dot row. So what it is do, our this line, our cell will go to A10, and from here end xlf. So end xlf will select all these things. Dot row will give you the total number of selected rows. So it is 10. So ideally it should give you the value as 10 in last row, and last row we have defined as a long. Long data type is nothing but it is a high integer value. And if you can see that there is a blank, so you don't need to worry that it will count only this row up till here because there is a blank cell over here. So it doesn't bother you. Ideally, whenever you will use this syntax, it will identify all the rows, whether there is a blank in between them or not. It will skip that. So no need to worry on that. Now our next function is that the setting up the formulas in the C column as a sum and D column as a multiplication. So you can see that range C2 C last row. Last row refers to 10. So our macro code will identify from C2 and last row was 10. So it will set up the formula up till all this range. In future, suppose the number of rows is extended to 20. So our same code will work over there, since we are making everything as a dynamic by taking the last row as a dynamic thing from this way. Dot formula will set up the formula which we have written over here. So this formula is going to set over from C2 to C10. Likewise, it will do in the D column, and it will set the multiplication of A2 and B2 from D2 to D last row. Now, once we are done with that, our formula should have been pasted in the C and D column, and then we have to just save it. So to save it, I'm using wb.save. wb refers to this workbook, that is a test workbook. .save will save it. And again, I'm using the same two syntax to remove any pop-up or any highlighted border. And at last, what I'm doing is I'm just closing that workbook, that is the test file. And this is the end of our code. So whenever I will run it, you can see that those columns should be populated, and you can see that the test file has been closed. So I'll open the test file, and you can see that the values has been populated over here successfully. You can see the formulas as well. In the second rows it is referring A2 B2, in the fifth row it is referring A5 B5, and it is the sum, whereas in the D column you can find it is the multiplication over here. Yeah, that's it for today. Thank you. Bye bye.